What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. So today I'm going to show you some new snakes we actually got here in the snake room, as well as obviously you see behind me there's a little bit of a rack. Some of the isopods we got in here as well. Alright guys, so I'm really excited because we actually got some new snakes that are now in the snake room. And these are a species that I've been really looking forward to getting. These are actually the Waglers Pit Viper. And these were actually produced by my buddy Rhett, who also produced the most of the squams that we got, besides the one I got from Will. But let's take a look at these guys, because they are beautiful. And let's see, one is in shed right now, so I'm not going to take her out. But let's see if I can maneuver them. They are an arboreal snake species, so they do stay in and can hang on to things. But they are very, very beautiful, and they actually go through a color change. So these are their juvenile colors. Let's see if I can get them out. Obviously, since there's so many vines in here, it's perfect for them to feel comfortable in, and it's also perfect and a little bit more difficult for me to get them out. As you can see, so what I have here, this is the bioactive setup that we had the squams in. Since I knew I was gonna get these guys, I actually took the squams out and I ordered a bunch of cages for the squams. So I'm getting a bunch of those 18 by 18 by 18 zoom ed cages, and we're gonna make those bioactive. So let me see if I can get them out. The one right here is the one in shed. So let's see, and I did put a bunch of pothos in here, which is all of these vines. So it does make it a little bit more difficult, but as you can see, as I touch her, she's kind of like, get away from me, don't touch me. But I do want to take her out so I could show you guys. And yeah, these pothos make it a little difficult, but you can see the one right here, this one is in shed, so her colors are not the best, but you can kind of see what they are. Let me see if I can get her a little better. And the thing they do, since they are arboreal, they wrap their tail around all these little vines, and they just hold on tight. But as you can see, the more I kind of bug her, the more she's coming to the front. And the goal is to get her right here. There we go. Oh, just around another pothos. And I think I almost have her. Almost. Nope. Let's see, I'm gonna move where their heads are. I'll move this pothos, and here we go. Okay, so let's see if I can get her out now. And as you can see, she's not used to being handled. These guys obviously are not gonna be handled very often. And she's got her little tail wrapped around my hook, and then the rest of her body there. So let's see if I can just finesse her here, and then let her come on girl, here we are. But these guys are actually from Southeast Asia. They are a pit viper species. So for these guys in the States, if you were to take a bite from these guys, you'd get treated with green pit viper antivenom. Is really effective for these, but I don't believe there's any antivenom specifically for these guys. Now they're not going to come out, so let's see. Let's see. Can you get a good angle there, Julia, of her? Mm-hmm. There we go. So as you can see, I'll keep trying to work her, but I'm not going to stress her out too much trying to get her out of the enclosure. The reason that we have two females is because Rhett actually is one of the only people to produce these guys here in the United States. There may be one more, so if you're that person, don't get mad at me. I just don't know who it is. But for the most part, these are typically imports. I think I might have her now. But they're typically imports, and since Rhett breeds them, apparently the males are not very hardy at all. They actually die relatively easily, so they're harder to kind of come by, and all those he's kind of saving, so he only would release females, which I'm not mad at, because the males stay the same color, basically, color and pattern as these babies. They don't really have a major color difference or change. But the females, however, they get crazy. I'll see if I can throw a picture in of their mom, and you'll see that as they get older, the older females will have more yellows and blacks. Here we go, okay. And she is on to me. So let's see there. Julie, can you get a good close-up of that? But yeah, they'll change from this solid green color to like black, yellow, gold, red. They just have amazing colors, and typically, from what I'm told, it takes about 2 to 3 years for them to undergo that color change. And yeah, you can see they have a huge giant head, as most pit vipers do. And then they have that really cool red line right behind their eyes and all this red speckling that eventually the green kind of fades out, and they do tend to look more like the traditional temple vipers as you see out in Southeast Asia, like Thailand, all that area, whereas like more gold, black, a bunch of speckling. They're not this solid color, but the males will stay like this color. And guys, this is actually a baby hook, one of the small hooks that Midwest Tongs makes. And these guys are so small that the hook looks like a normal size hook with them. But trust me, this is the little one. I'll see if I can like move her here. You can see how big she is compared to my hand. So she is tiny. One of the cool things too, let me go ahead and put her back in her enclosure, is since they are arboreal snakes, they're not gonna come down from their perches unless something's wrong with them or they're sick. They're gonna stay up in the trees, stay up the perch, so they typically don't drink out of water bowls. So what I come in here and do is every day, I actually have a little mister, and I'll just spray them off. And one thing Rhett told me, which is pretty unique with these Waglers, is they actually absorb water through their skin, much like frogs as well, which is very interesting. But let's see if this girl might not drink right off the hook, just because I've been messing with her, but the other one probably will. Let's see. So what I do is I spray them off every day, and I give them the ability to drink water, which, let's see. She's thinking about it. But this girl probably will. So this one's in shed, so I'll spray her down. And they did drink earlier today, but okay, so see how she's opening her mouth like that? Just ever so slightly. So there she's drinking. And what's happening too is with her scalation, the water I'm spraying with her is actually being directed towards her mouth. So even though there's not direct water on her per se, she's still able to drink off her scales. But see right there? She's drinking, she's slurping up some water. Now she's coming out of that mist so she can get a little bit of air. And then she'll also drink off of the leaves and the branches and anything like that. And as you can see, when I mist them down, their colors really pop. And I can't wait to see this one come out of shed and see what she looks like. There she's drinking again. And these are a pit viper species. This is an old world pit viper. So they do have those thermo sensors on the front of their face. They're heat pits to pick up on prey, even on predators, to kind of pretty much see in the dark. Kind of like Predator from that movie, the Alien movie.
Predators?
Predators, yeah. But so what I do is I want to make sure I come in here and I spray them every day just so they get enough water, because they're not going to be coming down and drinking out of a bowl. So then what I'll do is I'll spray down the cage probably every couple days, maybe twice a week. I'll spray down the cage for the plants. This is also full of isopods and springtails. So what that does is when they poop, drops to the bottom, the little isopods and springtails will eat that. Of course, I'll come in, and if there's like a large fecal matter that's kind of stocked up that they're not going to keep up with, I'll spot clean, but they'll take care of the rest, like all the urates and all that. And then the springtails will eat any mold that forms because it's a more humid environment. But as you can see, I just put the pothos in, so they're still getting established, but they seem to be doing really well in this enclosure. Speaking of isopods, I went down a rabbit hole, and if you're on our Patreon, you've seen this before. So I went and got a rack, and I have all my isopods set up in here, but I'm just gonna show you a couple of the really cool ones, because I have like dairy cows in here that are all raising, and these are my breeder colonies that will eventually be able to sustain all the bioactive we're gonna be building, because our big incentive right now, our initiative, is to turn pretty much all of our snake enclosures bioactive. I've already done that with the South Americans and with these guys, and then everything else is to come. So basically, let me grab my trash can here. Let's start with these first. So these are called rubber ducky isopods. These are a fan favorite when it comes to isopod collectors and keepers. And let's see, these guys are actually very hard to get breeding, but you can see that I got a couple right here. So there's a little rubber ducky, and if you zoom in, as you can see where it's going, he's got a little face, got little eyes. These guys are super cute. And these, I believe, are from Southeast Asia as well. And in this enclosure, I was able to get 10 of these guys, because they're not too easy to find, but there's another one down there. So they're just hitting adulthood. So what I have in here is like earthworm castings. It's bioactive substrate with sphagnum moss and a bunch of leaves for them to eat. So that's gonna probably take, honestly, 6 months to a year before this colony is ready for me to pull any babies out. So I'm just gonna let this thing, let it ride, let them breed. Haven't pulled any of these out for bioactive setups yet, just because it's more important to me to get a colony going. But I have pulled out, like, I'll show you real quick the dairy cows, and then I'll show you the panda kings. I actually got a couple cool different species, but these are the dairy cow isopods, and they usually hang out right here. So as you can see, those are the dairy cows. These guys, and they're called dairy cows because they kind of look like dairy cows. They're black, they're white with black spots. And there are a lot of them in here. That's just the few that were on this piece of cork bark, but there's probably, this colony started with about 30, so there's a good amount in there because they have been breeding. And then lastly, I'll show you the Panda King isopods I got, which these guys are actually breeding a lot faster. So when it comes to isopods, there's a few different reasons why some isopods are more expensive than others. The dairy cows are usually on the cheaper side because they breed really readily and easily. The rubber duckies are on the more expensive side because it takes forever to breed. And then these Panda Kings are similar to rubber duckies, but I've noticed that they breed a lot quicker. So you can see there's one right there. That's a little Panda King. So it's got black with a white spot, and that one's kind of hiding. But there's some down there, which may be hard to see where my finger's pointing. There's some down in there. And then there are bigger ones around somewhere, but they're pretty cool. I like those. Oh, before we go, let me show you one more species. I know this is becoming an isopod channel, but all the ones I've showed you are for like tropical enclosures, especially the Panda Kings and rubber duckies require higher humidity and higher moisture in the substrate. And obviously, as you guys know, I keep rattlesnakes and I keep other more drier climate reptiles. But there aren't a lot of dry climate isopods. One thing that any bioactive keeper is gonna know is most of the bioactive substrates and stuff lean towards tropical reptiles. These guys are actually a drier species of isopod. You can see them there. And I do not know the common name of these, and I'm gonna butcher the scientific name. I don't think they're cool. They may be Culberus spatulatus or spatulata. These guys are awesome though. These are probably one of my favorite because if you look at them, they kind of fray out. They're almost like pancakes, but you can see how they're little cute eyes. And these guys are just hitting sexual maturity now. I've had them for about 2 months, so they should start having babies anytime. And you will see that there's a little bit of moisture in the cage. So what these guys require is basically a moist side and then a bone dry side. So that's gonna come in handy when it comes to like Western diamondback rattlesnakes, so Southern Pacific rattlesnakes, Northern Pacific, stuff that I can put little patches of sphagnum moss in, moisten that little area down, and then the rest of the cage can be dry, so these guys can go do their cleanup, and then if they need moisture, they can go to the sphagnum moss, drink it, because isopods are actually crustaceans. They have gills, so they require that the water. So that way we can kind of get everything we have here set up bioactive. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know we started on snakes and ended with isopods. If you like this kind of video content to where you want to see some isopods and more of the bioactive cage building as well as just kind of full setup, drop a comment, let me know. But besides that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.